Hey guys, welcome to the hobby shop here. Nick here, RC Nickster. Today we're going to be having a look at the Jeep hard body and how I've got that attached to this SCX10 frame. Recently I've had a request from a subscriber, certainly not the first request I've had, but this is going to be the first time that I'm getting a chance to get into it a little bit. Now that it's obviously running a lot better, pretty happy with how it's been going. So Shane and the other guys who have asked in the past, I'm going to show you how I've mounted this to the SCX10 frame. So why don't we bring it over here to the scale garage and have a look at it. Hey guys, well, as you can see, we're back here down on or in the garage. How does the body attach here? One of the first things I think I need to mention, because, you know, some of you guys are wondering how this was attached to this frame. Well, I was lucky in the fact that this particular body is made for the SCX10 frame. Some modifications, of course, you got to make for that to happen if you want to make them. And I'll explain what I mean as I go through here. One of the first things I'll mention, though, is the fact that I made up these tires. I do work, not the tires, the rims, of course. I do work in a machine shop, and I was able to get some time to make a set of rims. They're 1.9s, they're glue-ons, but I think it really adds to the look of this truck. They're a classic design. Obviously the 5 spokes, you know, with the 5 lugs. I don't mind the center not too much, doesn't bother me. I also made a back one. Oh, I actually just threw that chain on there this morning. I'd forgotten I'd done that, but I'll take that off later. But you can see there another rim for the back, and here's the old tire. I think that anybody who has this, that's basically what I copied. So this is the plastic tire that comes with it. You've probably seen it on some of the rigs. Some guys decide just to leave that one on there, but I went with this one, and what I really liked was I was able to keep my back light on there. My little brake light. That was pretty good. So, I've got 5 of those rims with the classic Maxxis tire, of course. You can see these are all pretty dirty right now because I had them out on my last run. Now, to mount it onto this particular frame wasn't too bad, because I've made a couple of changes. I had to move the transmission and the motor and everything up front with the use of a front motor plate, and we'll get into that here now in a second. So when I run this rig, anybody who watches my videos knows that when I run like I'm actually in behind the wheel. There's no real tough truck challenges, so to speak. So I enjoy a more scale run. So I'm actually able just to take this off. This is where I keep my battery, and I also keep my ESC and my receiver. So everything is all connected up in there. You can see that I had to cut the body on the back seat here. Now it's a lot more than really what I had to, because at one point I had something set up there with the ESC and everything down here on the frame, but it was becoming a bit of a pain in the butt. So I changed it to this. This gives me lots of room to run wires in and out, and to be honest, I very rarely notice when all the top is on. Even when running along, other than maybe the red light from the ESC, it goes good. Now I can fit a 5,000 size pack in here, no problem, but I go with the 2200 mAhs. Nice small footprints, so they go in here nicely. Now I can get a little piece of black material or something to put over this if I wanted to cover up some of that, but I haven't found a need to. Something else I guess you notice here is I've got the GoPro mount. Some of you guys may have seen the footage that I've done with you guys in the passenger seat, so to speak. So that's how that looks there. Now, referring back to Shayne's question, I think what you're going to find with the style of rig that you're planning to put this body on, you're going to have to do some changes, and I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge to get something like this body onto that style. And I'm referring to it. I checked out the numbers and stuff. I'll put those in the video somewhere around here, I guess. But it's a WL Toys, and it's a rock racer style rig. So you may have quite a few more challenges than I've had, because of the fact that this is actually made for this frame. I'm pretty sure, not 100%, but I'm pretty sure there isn't really one made for that style rig. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I think it will come with its challenges. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is I'd like to disconnect some of the electronics and the motor and stuff, because of course all that kind of got to go through the back seat and down underneath. And we'll show you the frame and where the motor and stuff sits in relation to where it did previously. So let's just get right into that. Okay guys, here we go. So I brought up another rig to show, do a bit of a comparison here. And what I want to do is I want to show you the drivetrain of the SCX10 frame. Now this is pretty familiar to most, I think. And what you've got here is you got a transmission with your motor and all your drivetrain that runs down to your axles through your drive shafts. The reason why I'm showing you this is something I wanted to change. I didn't want to have to cut away all the interior of my body to sit it down, and then when you look through the side doors and stuff, you would see it all the time. But that's completely up to yourself. There are some that I think did that and then made some stuff to go around it so you didn't really notice it as much. It's not the decision I went with. For myself, I decided I would get the front motor plate, which you can buy through a few places nowadays, and moved all this up front with a transfer gearbox. So let me show you that. First of all, the body. Didn't do a whole lot to this other than mounting the spare tire, which I'm pretty happy with the fact that tail light is still on there. You can see all my wiring right there. You can see I had to cut away my back seat. The big thing, again, about the body here is that it was made for an SCX10. So you see these little areas. There's one right underneath the front as well. You can see that little rectangular area. Well, that actually fits the front and the back of the frame. So that is what made it a little easier for me. So those two sections actually sit perfect distance apart for the SCX10 frame. And here's what I meant about the motor. You know, I'm certainly not the first one to do this, but, you know, I've always wondered myself as well. So I got onto GCM Racing's website, and I saw that they sold all this stuff separately. So I went ahead and I got myself one of these plates. And what that does is it brings your transmission, your motor, everything up front underneath the hood here, where you've of course got lots of room. What you need to be able to do that is a transfer case as well. This particular one I bought on Amazon. Just type it into the search. I think you'll find it easy enough. And up front here, I don't think this is necessary, but I did go with a frame mounted servo because I like the fact that you don't see the servo up on your axle here. Now, the front here does hide a lot of that anyway, just from this cowling and stuff that the body has, but I wanted to try this with the second bar here. What's that? Panhard bar, which I made myself as well. Something that I will have to change because I mounted some. This is a rough in, obviously, but I've mounted a bar right here. But I put this ball end in this orientation where I think it should have been rotated 90 degrees maybe and in a slot so that it could maneuver a little better. So you know, it's not bad, but it needs work. Hope you can see that okay. And, you know, being that I work in a machine shop, I went ahead and I made my own steering servo. Not sure how all that is supposed to work up underneath there, but I don't get any interference. And it works well. Oh, it seems to me I'm a little bit loose there. But anyway, what else? Guys, I think I've pretty much covered it all. Now, Shayne, again, I think you will have some obstacles to overcome when you go to attach this body. And the reason why I say you're going to have some issues with it is because you had mentioned that this was in fact the same body as you were getting. So I'm just going to lay that up here for now. Now, if you get this exact same body, I think going on to a WL, well, not a WL Toys, doesn't matter, but going on to a rock racer, there are some different obstacles that you'll need to overcome. One of those, I think, is the fact that there's a cage as part of the structure. So you're either going to have to come down around that or maybe incorporate that into the body underneath somehow to, you know, somewhere where it'll sit at around the right height or whatever, depending on what you want. You know, it could sit a little higher too if you wanted to go with big monster truck tires or something along that line. That's a possibility. Anyway, I hope this helped you a little. I'm not sure if it did or not, but I was glad to answer your question. And as far as everything else that you had mentioned to me, Shayne mentioned going with, I believe it was 4200 mAh battery, which I think on a crawler will give you lots of time to play. And certainly enough power for a scale that you are dealing with, which is, I think, was 1/12 scale. But anyway, good luck with it. And guys, I hope this helps somebody else out there. If you do have any more questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if there's anything that I can help you with, let me know. All right, guys, take care. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. and let me know what you thought. If you'd like to see a little bit more of my rigs maybe, or